I did my biography on John Wayne, and I did this because my boyfriend is obsessed with John Wayne, has a cardboard cutout and everything, and has all the movies, so I was like, why shouldn't I find out more about John Wayne since I've been watching him nonstop for over a year now. So John Wayne was born in 1907 in Winterset, Iowa, under the name Marion Robert Morrison, which was his birth name, and he was already weighing in at 13 pounds when he was born, which ultimately led up to him being at a height of 6'4" when he was a man and weighing at 225 pounds. So he was a very large man, and his family moved to Lancaster, California because his dad wanted some more work opportunities, and they eventually moved to Glendale, California. And in Glendale, California, this is where he received his nickname, the Duke, and this is where the firefighters in that town, I guess John Wayne was always with his dog, who was an Airedale Terrier, and his name was Duke. And so the firefighters called him Big Duke and Little Duke. And this eventually stuck with everyone, and this is one of his major nicknames. In school, he was an excellent student. He played football, was involved in the student government, and his football ultimately led him to get a scholarship at the University of Southern California in 1925. And 2 years later, he had an injury and lost his scholarship. So he had a friend named Tom Mix, who was a silent cowboy actor, who got him involved with Fox Films, and this is where he met John Ford, who was a producer for Fox Films, and he just started off as a prop man, and then eventually got into being a stunt man, and then finally John Ford said, well, why not have you get a big break, and we'll give you a big film. So this is where he starred in The Big Trail, and this movie did not do very well in the box office, and his contract ultimately lapsed and ended with Fox Films. So he went and did some small Western movies, and they were low budget, and eventually Fox Films saw this, and they were like, okay, let's give you another try. So he went back with Fox Films, and that's where he got the movie Stagecoach, which really launched his career. And in this movie and the movies that followed it, the Duke was his character, and this is really where everyone started seeing John Wayne for who he really was, and he was a cowboy based on decency, honesty, and integrity, and people really liked his character. So the movie that we all probably really know John Wayne from is True Grit, but he really did end up starring in over 250 films, some that we all might know and may not even know, because he did star in Western and war films because he was very interested in the war, and he does hold the most record of, well, he holds the record for having the most leading parts at 142 roles. That's a lot of movies to be the lead character in, and he holds that record to this day. So his marriage and family, he was married 3 times. His first marriage was to Josephine St. and this was only for a limited amount of time, from 1933 to 1945. And she was an actress, and they divorced and had 4 children together. Then he was married again, and they didn't have any children together. It was just they divorced, it just didn't work out. And then his third and final marriage was to Pilar Wayne, and this was from November 1954 until his death in June of 1979. And she was an actress. He was always married to actresses, and they actually separated in 1973 but never made the divorce official, and they ended up having 3 children together. He did have a lot of awards that were awarded to him throughout his lifetime, and he even had he was an Academy Award winner. He received the Henrietta Award during the Golden Globes, which isn't around anymore, but it's for the World Film Favorite for male. And he has the Golden Globe for True Grit. He was honored for the Veterans of Foreign Wars highest award, and that's the National Americanism Gold Medal. and he was actually inducted in 1974 to the Hall of Great Western Performers of the National Cowboy and Heritage Museum. And in 1980, actually, him and President Carter did have a very good relationship because John Wayne was very involved in politics. And Jimmy Carter, actually, a year after he died, gave him the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is the highest civilian award. And actually, to this day, he is still being honored. He actually did get a Army helicopter named after him in 1998, which was named the Duke, and his children and family members that are still around were there for that. And Arnold Schwarzenegger in California, as the governor in '07, named May a National John Wayne Day, and then in August of that year, he inducted John Wayne into the California Hall of Fame. Excuse me. And actually in April of this year, 2014, he was Turner Classic Movies Star of the Month. So I thought that was pretty cool that even to this day he is still being honored. And for his life obstacles, he did have a lot of health obstacles. He did smoke over about 5 packs a day. So in September 6th of 1964, he had a 6-hour operation to remove a golf ball-sized tumor, which actually led to the removal of his entire left lung because of the cancer was so in-depth. And in 1978, he had open heart surgery due to a complication that occurred when, after he had his lung removed, he was traveling and caught pneumonia, and for someone with only one lung, that's not a very good situation. So he was coughing so hard, he actually injured a valve in his heart, and so he had to get that fixed. And then Friday, January 12, 1979, he went into the hospital to get his have a gallbladder surgery, and this is actually when the doctors found stomach cancer. They ended up moving his entire stomach, and then in May 2nd of that year, 1979, the cancer ultimately spread to his intestines, and June 10th, like a month later, he died. He went into a coma and then died the next day, June 11th of 1979, from the cancer. And right after he died, the flame of Olympic's torch in LA and California was lit and stayed lit for 4 days until his funeral. That was 4 days later. And he was 72 years old when he died. And I think to this day, people are still watching his movies. They are still shown on TV. He will always be a very big role model and a very big star from the past. And that's why I always love his one quote that is, "Courage is being scared to death, but saddling up anyways." And I think this has to do a lot with that video we just watched about public speaking, because you might be scared, but you just saddle up and you do it anyway, just like we are with these biography speeches. Yep. So, thank you.